Welcome to another episode of Business Bros. What up, ladies and gentlemen? Hernan Cias here, host of the Business Bros podcast, along with my co-host,
the insurance bro, James Cias. And as always, we have another fun-filled, ready-to-go rock and roll episode for all of you. TGIF, thank God it's Friday. On today's episode, we are joined by a listener and real estate agent all the way out in the Midwest. This young hustler is relatively new to the real estate game, but he doesn't let that stop him from grabbing hold of every opportunity that he can. This guest reached out to dozens of podcasts to build his marketing strategy and found an opportunity to elevate his platform right here with the Business Bros Pod. He dreams of using his platform to create success and provide a chance to give back to the community. He's most passionate about helping people who are dealing with recovery, addiction, and mental illness, and has a dream of opening a youth basketball program in his hometown. Coming to us all the way from Edina, that's out near Minneapolis for the rest of us, please welcome to the show, a true go-getter, Austin Meimaridis.
Hey everybody, pleasure to be here. Absolutely ecstatic to be on the show.
Woo, thanks for joining us.
How about that intro, right? Let's get you.
That
pumped,
was
right?
unbelievable. That was unbelievable. I get anybody fired up.
You're right. Woo! It was worth the 5-minute wait, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That
was a 10-minute.
Right, exactly. Before we get started, ladies and gents, got to remind you guys, we need 15 more hoodies, sweaters, blankets, that sort of stuff for the homeless that we have here in San Diego. We're going to talk about the weather in Minneapolis, talk about cold. That's a whole different ball game.
A whole different kind of cold.
Whole different kind of cold. But we got San Diego cold, and people still get cold at night. So we got 15 left by the end of today. So if you got hoodies, blankets, or whatever, hit James up 619-884-0045 or james@ciasfirst.com.
Call me today.
Boom. He's also in the insurance business, ladies and gentlemen. We want to help you grow your insurance business. Maybe you got a tax office or a mortgage office, one of those things. It's pretty simple. It's a try it before you buy it scenario. So all you got to do is send us all those insurance leads. We'll write the business. We'll grow that business for you. And every month I'm going to send you a commission statement. And that's the check you would have received had you gone out and got your license. So let's make that happen for you. You got till December 31st. I'm going to send you a statement every single month, and you're going to see that check add up, add up, add up. You get your license, I'm going to cut you a fat check by the end of the year. So make sure you guys handle that. Hit James up for more details, 619-884-0045 or james@ciasfirst.com. And lastly, February 13th, I'm going to be at the Resolution 2020 event here in Chula Vista. So if you guys got some time to go check it out, Kobe Gibson's going to be talking. You got 90 minutes of NLP, that's neuro-linguistic programming that Tony Robbins teaches. Plus, I'm going to be what my thing called again? The moderator. There you go. The moderator of a top producing panel of real estate agents, so you guys can get some more information. All right, that's all we got. Ready?
Woo. Ready.
All right, Austin. Welcome to the show, man. I got to go through that whole little MO at the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Get through it. I mean, that's you guys' thing. Go ahead.
That's the thing. All right, dude. So first of all, just because most of our audience is here in San Diego, tell me what the weather's like in Minneapolis, just so we can get some context here.
Yeah, no, for sure. So the weather in Minneapolis right now, as we sit today, is about 20 degrees. We're sitting right above 20 degrees. And that's a warm front. If you ask our weather people who go on the TV every night at 6 p.m., they're going to tell you that it's warming up for the typical end of January standard. So,
that ain't right.
Snow doesn't melt out here. So, it takes a toll, like brick by brick every day. You know, you're just begging for the summer to come back. But
well,
but we're still showing home, still doing business out here.
So I was going to ask you about that. So okay, so you're covered in snow. It's windy. It's like almost, I don't know how to explain, maybe you can explain what the wind feels like when it's snowy on your face, on your hands, on your entire body. Yeah, exactly.
Sharp.
And you're trying to show houses. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so actually, it affects more than just that, and I'll get into that in a bit. But so with the showing of the house, most people in Minnesota, I don't work with a whole lot of relocating buyers. So, the people that I'm showing aren't totally unaccustomed to this weather, and they understand. So typically they're willing to reason with you if you're a little bit slower, taking off your gloves and opening up the lockbox with tears running down your eyes. But as far as seeing the homes, occasionally with just some of the unique situations that we find ourselves in real estate, the outside of the house isn't always the best maintained, especially when snow comes around. Not a lot of people are willing to go out and shovel a house that's not their primary residence. So you run into a lot of issues where accessibility, becomes a problem. But for the most part, people are actually very forgiving out here. They understand. It presents a couple problems, but at the end of the day, we're gonna get in the house, and if I can do my job and provide ample time for us to trudge through the snow, it's no big deal.
So do you like have to carry a shovel and stuff in your car when you go to these places and like shovel snow out of the way and get to the door?
To get to the door, I mean, I typically don't shovel a pathway to the door of a showing just because that seems a little extensive. Maybe if I was, if I have a lot of time and I pulled up 30 minutes early and I was feeling good that day, maybe I'd go out and do it. But I typically just have a shovel in case I ever get stuck or in case a door won't open, for usually the emergency situations. And then you got to keep salt because, in the event that you need ice to melt very, very fast, because maybe you're stuck, your car is stuck, or for whatever reason you need ice to melt, it's good to keep a bag of salt too.
So Austin, really quickly, a little bit of background here. You're talking to two guys who are Southern California natives, have no idea what snow is like, except for this one time when I went to Ohio with one of my best friends and shoveled his driveway. And then he told me we got to go shovel Uncle Bones' driveway. And I was like, what? We got to do this again?
It sucks, doesn't it? It's bad.
Yeah. At first it was fun. That ended, like 5 minutes into it. It wasn't fun no more.
No, yeah, it can be fun. And it is fun for a lot of visitors. The first time they come out, they want to do all the snow activities. I mean, everything. They want to do it all. But like you said, after a couple minutes, it gets really, really old. So, when you start to, stack months upon months of it, it definitely takes.
So it takes a certain kind of work ethic to be a real estate agent. Much more in your case when dealing with weather and this, that's just ridiculous. Like being able to, something as simple as, like, we complain about trying to find a lockbox, but it's in plain sight somewhere. Like we don't have to shovel snow or anything. Maybe, it's hidden around, under a porch or something weird like that, but it's completely visible. Like you've gotten into the business in 6 months, and what kind of hustle have you been working on to get, to drum a business?
Yeah. Well, like you touched on kind of in the question, it is very difficult some days, especially when the weather is not permitting, to get out there and to hustle, or to get out there and show houses, or to go meet people on the street, or to go door knock. I mean, when it's negative 10 degrees, you don't want to do those things. But, I personally believe that the toughest conditions make the best, to create the, the best diamonds or whatever, there's all types of, quotes about that or whatever. But, I personally believe that the more you go out there and do it, the better person you'll be for it. So it's just about getting out of bed, like making your feet hit the ground, getting out there and actually, exposing yourself to the cold regardless. But, no one's perfect, but the most you can do is just get out there every single day. And, don't give yourself that option to just say, it's very cold today, because guess what? 90% of people are going to say it's too cold today. And those other 10% are going to pounce on opportunities.
So real estate's a sales game. Tell me a little bit about your background in sales. Like how'd you get into this game and decide this is what you wanted to do?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually a great question. So with me, so I grew up around sales. I love sales. I've always loved sales. It's just excited me, right? It kind of lit a fire in me. So you might find this throughout my while we learn more about each other here. I'm a big advocate of throwing yourself into things and figuring out what works. Kind of like how I mentioned, throw a bunch of stuff on the wall and see what sticks, right? So with sales, I knew I wanted to do sales because of the opportunity for leg up, the opportunity to out hustle someone, the competitive nature of it. I love it. So I jumped at a bunch of sales opportunities, and a lot of those sales opportunities that I originally got started in, including job placement center, car sales, auto finance, which you wouldn't really think is sales, but a lot of times you're dealing with lenders and like rates and stuff like that. So a little salesy, and retail. When, I probably wasn't, at 20 to have done all four, I probably wasn't qualified for any, maybe retail. But being able to, that in itself, getting the opportunity was good selling experience for me. And then let alone the excess opportunity of when you actually do get the position, you find out a lot about what you enjoy selling, what kind of salesman you are, what works for you, and, stuff like that. So I've, total all that stuff added up, I probably have, year and a half, maybe just south of 2 years of, sales experience just in various areas.
So what is it that strikes you the most about the sales process? Like, what's the thing that really drives you to keep going? Is it like, I'll give you an example. Is it just creating the lead generation? Is it taking it all the way to closing? Is it like where you get to negotiate buyer seller type stuff? Like, what part of it is the fuel to the fire?
There's a lot of it that's invigorating for sure. Even listening to all those, I enjoy all those, but for me, I would say if I had to choose one, I would say I'm very relationship oriented. I'm the least transactional salesperson you're probably ever going to run into. That's just the way I am. That goes down to my wiring, who I am as a person. So, for me, talking to people, getting to know people, finding out their why, and then understanding like their emotion behind the sale and selling them with emotion, using them, not in a manipulative way, but understanding what drives them and then doing my due diligence to figure out how I could best suit what exactly is driving them, kind of thing. So, all that kind of stuff is what makes me excited.
All right, so you're a young buck, dude. You're new in the game. You're coming from a different generation than a lot of people who've been homeowners, as of late, even on the millennial side. What's your social media game like? Like, I mean, you obviously we met via Instagram. You reached out. How are you using that to like grow your business?
Social media is unique. It's obviously changed the world, and it's definitely, I couldn't stress more importance on it. I think a lot of people who are getting into the game now, and regardless of what that space is, it could be insurance, real estate, tires, I don't care. I mean, for all everyone's got, when you're my age, everyone's got this like sixth sense to social media because we've all been running our own social media, telling the world about ourselves I've had a Facebook since I was like 12. You know what I mean? I've got 8 years of experience on social media. And not only that, we spend a lot of time on it, probably way too much. So that advantage is definitely cool to know what people react to and to have it to be, kind of reactionary. I mean, it's sixth sense. It's instinctual.
Are you on TikTok?
I'm not.
Why not? I'm curious.
I'm not as a consumer. I refuse to consume it. Just because I watch my roommates and I watch my peers and I watch my friends and everyone, they all get so into it. They're doing the dances. I've been in a couple, and they're doing the dances, and they say like, oh, Danielle from TikTok. Like, I mean, it's Danielle. Like, it's that. They're that into it, and they can spend 5-6 hours on TikTok. I physically can't allow myself that kind of that style of time management throughout the day. I don't even want to flirt with the idea of downloading and becoming a consumer and getting that into it.
I'll give you that. The consumption, the trap that you can fall into for taking the time and watching stuff, that's definitely a trap that even I felt like during Christmas break. Dude, I watched a lot of TikTok, dude. I must spend a couple hours just going through, like, you get caught in this little, like.
Right. It's not your fault. You shouldn't feel bad about it at all. There's some really good content on there. Like, I know my sister showed me some things that I love, you know what I mean? But it's not to anyone's fault because there is quality on it. But it comes down to, self-discipline, trading off what you are getting distracted by now for what you should be doing. And, being able to hold true to that and keep the phone down. So I don't even.
Yeah, no. Well, here's the other side of it, though. I'm a big proponent of building an audience and using the attention that you get, regardless of the platform, right? So, I have a LinkedIn, I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, I have a Facebook, I have a TikTok account, and we spend most of our time with the show. We do live on Facebook, we do a lot of posts on Instagram and Facebook, but I do spend time, building my Twitter account. My LinkedIn account. And building the TikTok. And I still suck at the content creation, but I get to play and have fun on there and try different types of things. And if I think it's fun, I can always share it to my other social media feeds. Because like for me, the big thing about social media and TikTok specifically is their hooks, right? You were just explaining how like you get stuck and you get sucked into this warp of next one.
If it's good, right?
If it's good, right? So for me, that's like one of those things where I can get good at hooking people. Like I can start to test things out like on TikTok and see what's grabbing attention and then take that and utilize it in a professional space on the other side. So I agree with you. With the consumption can get tough, and that's a tricky, that's something you definitely fall into. But on the content creation side, right, it's all about being able to attract attention. How can I grab somebody from continuing to scroll through my stuff and at least take a look at what I'm doing? You know what I mean?
Yep, 100%. Couldn't agree with you more, truly, from a content creation side.
From a content creation side. So what are you doing content creation wise? Where you focus your attention on?
Right now, I'm very much so on Instagram, just because I feel it's most interactive. I don't, unlike a lot of businesses, I'm not 100% on Instagram for the short game, for the initial hook, for the stop and look at my thing. That's great if they do, but that's not my number one proponent of why I'm running it. Right now, I'm looking to, being 20, my peers and my supporters who are all over this stuff, all over social media. I mean, like they're obsessed with it, of course. The way I see it, I'm kind of building that foundation of trust, showing them how I do business, showing them why I love my business, showing them why I think it's cool. Eventually, my goal would be that it's second nature. They think of me when they hear the word buy or sell a home, real estate, any real estate questions, renting, flipping, investing, any of that. I want to be thought of down the line. And, on top of that, I get the question a lot, well, why are you so active on Instagram? And, you're so active with, I am very active in responding and getting people involved who are my age, and my age people, they're not buying homes, typically. So I get a lot of questions. Well, why are you spending so much time on it? And the honest truth is I'm playing the long game. On top of that, I would venture to say that at least 30% of these kids that I'm, interacting with have an older brother or sister. And if they're looking to buy, and if I do my job well enough and I really, I intrigue them enough, maybe my name will get brought into the conversation. Maybe the next time I see them, they'll mention, oh yeah, my brother or sister is looking to buy or sell. I have no problem asking for a number and calling a stranger at that point. You know what I mean? So
you're trying to become a thought leader, basically, right? So you want people to think of you when they think of real estate, and that's a great. I mean, I love the fact that you talked about, this is a long game. You're playing it. It's a branding strategy, right? And the content that you're putting out on a regular basis is exactly that. It's kind of like how we did the podcast. Once we created our logo, once we created our brand, once we took these 30-minute segments, right? So like we'll do a show every day, right? But very few people actually listen to it in its entirety. What they love to listen to is when we break down the little, 1-minute clip and we repost them on our Instagrams or on our Facebooks. That is really where the attention is. You pop them with a question, something on like a wraparound on the video, and it's something intriguing. Maybe it's a 10-second, 30-second clip, but that's the type of stuff that they see, and they see it over and over and over again. I went to a networking event this week. 2 this week actually, which is strange for me. I usually don't do that. But anyways, I went to 2 events, and it's really cool to meet people that I've never met before in real life, but have recognized our brand, that know that we have a podcast, that know that this is what we do. And it really got me thinking about like, what is it that people see when they see me? Like, what is it that, I'm a thought leader, but what is it that they think of when they see me, right? So you're creating right now that whole thought process of, I want to be the realtor that they think of, right? When they think of real estate, because they've seen my content over and over and over again, they're going to think of me, or at least they're going to be asking me the question, right?
Exactly.
That's the intent of what you're doing. Yeah, and we've done the same thing now, but the problem was, so I got my real estate license too, right? And we initially built a podcast to get real estate referrals.
Right.
Kind of work out that way. Now I see myself more as, I'm trying to see myself more like what our people see. When they see me, they think, oh, you got a podcast. They think of podcasting, and that's totally not the intent, but understanding how they see you is important, right? Absolutely. Understanding how they see you so you can utilize it and build your business. So you talked about working with 20-year-olds, right? And playing the long game.
Yeah.
How's it working with getting into their specific circle of influence? So yeah, they're your buddies right now and they're close and they're all young, but how you been doing on leeching off, like you were saying, their brothers, parents, aunts, uncles, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, for sure. Well, for me, it has definitely been a very unique experience, but I feel it's going very well. A lot of people are still in the trust building phase with me. They want to know, I mean, here's the thing. A lot of people at the friend level, they like you, but as a friend, I mean, would you let your friend go, for example, if your friend just got their, just passed their law test and they just became a lawyer, and you need a lawyer at the time just because they're your friend, but they're brand new, would you just go ahead and let them do it? Probably
Kind of,
not.
yeah, you want to see them.
You'd rather go to a random stranger who you could read a couple testimonials than your best friend. You know what I mean? So I still think I'm still building trust with a lot of people that I can do my job at a proficient level. So with the 20-year-olds, I'm planting a seed. With my lead gen stuff on top of that, door knocking, open houses, stopping people in public, that kind of stuff, reaching out to, people in different groups, people of different age demographics, all that stuff. That's more of the active lead gen kind of stuff that's actually benefiting my business from a short-term standpoint, from like right now, what I'm dealing with as far as my business goes. But at the same time, yeah, it has gotten me in the door once or twice. Actually, I had a buddy at a fraternity party. This was just back 3 months or so ago. Buddy at a fraternity party. We're sitting down. We're talking about real estate. He's seen the Instagram. He likes it. He likes what I'm doing. He respects the hustle, right? And he says, my dad's been doing a for sale by owner for a little over 2 years and hasn't got it to sell. You want to go talk to him? And of course, I mean, how would you respond when you're 20 and eager? Like,
absolutely.
I need to talk to him. Let me talk to him. That's all I need to do. I just want to sit down there and at least see the house. So, I played phone tag for 2-3 weeks with this guy, ended up driving an hour and a half out into the boonies of Minnesota and sat down at a beautiful property and talked to this guy. And as of right now, we're waiting until the end of February to get this thing on the market with him. So
nice.
I mean, the initial results, I mean, they're going to come, but as of right now, it's just a lot more of keeping an open mind, taking every opportunity, saying yes, throwing yourself at everything you possibly can, regardless of, renting, buying, parents, brother, sister, cousin.
What do you think is something that you're struggling with? Like if you had a mentor in front of you right now and you can ask them something based on their experience, based on what they've been doing in the real estate game, maybe they've been in the business for, 10, 20 plus years. What's something that you as a new agent are aspiring to learn from them? What can you see that they're doing really well that you would want to know how to do?
I would ask, so funny you asked that. A couple days ago, my answer would have been different. But I've kind of wrapped my head around that initial one. My initial question was, what am I doing wrong? I think I'm doing so many things, but I think I skipped a couple steps in the growing process as a real estate agent. And I needed to slow down, build my foundation, start thinking about, the basement before I start thinking about the master suite kind of thing. So I kind of came around to that. But right now, I would probably say targeting the condos and apartments that are going up in Minneapolis and gaining credibility as such a young agent. And the verbiage I should be using and the tactics I should be using, the strategy I should be using as far as marketing and interviews and all that good stuff goes, to build the rapport and gain the respect, really, because that's been a huge problem for me, is gaining respect as a 20-year-old realtor with the consumer. So stuff along that line, but then larger scale, because I mean, I don't know if you know anything about the statistics of like renting in Minneapolis or St. Paul, but it's unbelievable right now, like 98.7% vacancy rate. So they just keep flying up. They're flying up left and right. So I'd love to get a piece of it. And that's probably, if I could ask one top producer in my office who I actually have in mind right now, I would probably ask him how I can get my foot in that door.
As owning like an investment property, you're talking?
Like, so the apartments and condos are going up. Like I'm talking like 190 to 200 something.
Like unit?
Yeah. And you can partner with them and then help them sell units and bring in buyers for that unit. You then become a partner with the actual builder and the leasing office and stuff like that. And they pay you for it. And the fact that they're so vacant and they're so new and they're so sought after in this city right now, it's just a huge opportunity to get ridiculous amounts of business. So that's a space that all realtors aspire to, in this area at least. I mean, they're aspiring for that. They're out lining out the door just to talk to the leasing office to partner with some of these things. And that's probably where I take it. Yeah.
So are those properties for sale or are they up for lease?
So a lot of times they are up for sale. A lot of people are starting to buy downtown apartments and everything.
Because what I've learned as far as new construction is concerned, oftentimes you can register a buyer as a new construction and then still earn the commission on that, even if they don't buy through you, because you've brought in the lead. So
Right. Yep.
yeah, that's also that's a phenomenal thing to be aware of, especially since you're a city boy, like you were talking about. You don't want to leave the city. I mean, there's something to be said about the young buck. There's always a two perspective side, right? The one perspective is they're not going to trust me because I'm young. The other perspective is this young guy knows exactly what he's talking about because he lives the city life. Like, this is where he's been at. This is where he is. This is what I can show you. Let me show you where you want to go for coffee. You want to go for, nightclub. You want to go for a restaurant. Like, this is where it's all about. I know because this is the life I live. Right. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So I think it's part of it's got to be perspective. How often are you how often are you saying that, man, I need to build it as, because I'm young? How often do you think you're using the I'm young excuse on yourself?
The I'm young excuse on myself as a proponent of what,
and stopping you, preventing you from moving forward, or as a reason why somebody didn't do business with you or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. I get it. To be honest, I really don't let it stop me initially. Looking back on things, I try not to use that excuse ever, to be honest with you. There's times where it would be easy to say, oh, I didn't get that listing appointment because I went in with two other people. They both got interviewed and I was the youngest by far. It'd be really easy to say that, but I think I'm a firm believer that if I would have came in there and blown their socks off with my knowledge and my confidence and my persuasion and my relatability and all these other things, they would have listed the house to me regardless of what I looked like. I could be, 3'2", 16. I don't know. That's just my opinion. So I really don't use the excuse a lot. Oftentimes it's the reality in negotiating with other agents. So going back and forth with listing agents when I'm representing buyers, oftentimes I don't like to let them know my age or my amount of experience in the field, because they automatically degrade. They bring me down to a certain point. They kind of manipulate you. They play to their advantage. I mean, of course, I understand why, but so that's probably been the most difficult part about that whole experience is the agents who've been in the game a long time. They know you don't know as much as they do, and they'll go down those routes intentionally.
I'm gonna challenge you on that one. I think that's an assumption you got in your head.
Yeah.
Because you could be a badass phenom young guy for
Absolutely.
all they know.
Yeah.
For all they know. Like, they don't know anything about that. It's how you hold yourself in that conversation. Don't ever let them think that you can be intimidated. Just keep them, on their toes. Like, ask specific questions, come in prepared. How's your listing presentation or buyer presentation? You got it fully scripted all the way out? Do you have a pre-listing package when you go on a listing appointment?
Yeah. I have a listing and a buyer's packet. They're actually, my company kind of has the template for them and I insert things as I go. But a script, no, I don't have a script. I do believe in scripts for sales purposes, but for the listing and buying presentation, like I said, I'm very non-transactional, very relationship based. So I like to, before I even go into, all the details, all the, crossing the T's and dotting the I's and stuff like that, I like to know more about them. I like to know, to get into that. And that's something, if I had to say I have a routine of what I do, I start with that. But yeah, it's going well. It was very easy to jump into. My company does a great job with their marketing materials, and
I would strongly advise you to get that presentation down, pack, like the script on the seller side down to a T. You're right, it is transactional, but let's be honest, people don't really when you go into a listing presentation, the client doesn't really want to be there. You know what I'm saying? The client doesn't really want to listen to you talk. They want the answers to their questions, and they want to know what their bottom line check's going to be. They want to get in and out with the least amount of damage as possible. So, when you come in with the script, it's not so much that you're selling them, it's that you're acting professional, right? Like, when you go to the doctor's office, it's going to be the same thing every single time and every single process, because you know exactly what to expect. Like, when you go to McDonald's, you're going to get the same experience every single time. And if you offer a quality experience every single time, each one of those buyer or seller experiences that go through you are going to want to refer somebody because they want them to have that same exact experience. You know what I mean?
Yep,
so it's as a new agent, it's absolutely vital that you have that script up front. And then as far as the getting to know them ahead of time, one of the things that I was always taught and I was always recommending going forward is this is a phone conversation that you have ahead of time. It's in preparation of the listing appointment. It's in preparation of your buyer consultation. So the pre-qualification process happens via phone ahead of time. And if it was me, I'd also recommend that you send your pre-listing package ahead of time. So so here's how I would work it out. I would say, okay, you're gonna have an appointment, right, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. We're gonna set up an appointment. We're gonna see you, this next week, on Tuesday at 4:00 in the afternoon, whatever it's gonna be. Cool. So you have the appointment set up. I would take them the pre-listing package, drop it off at their door, send it to carrier, whatever it's gonna be. Have them collect the pre-listing package, right? Have it be at their house. Then the day before the appointment a day or two before the appointment, you're going to call to confirm to make sure that we're still good to go, because you never know, things come up or whatever. And then while you have them on the phone, you're going to make sure that you ask those pre-qualification questions. You also ask things like, hey, what are, 2 or 3 things that are your biggest, worry about getting this property sold? That way you're already coming with the objectives ahead of time. Know what I mean? Like that way, when you're sitting at the table, it's gonna be like you just get a pad of paper and be like, okay, you told me that these were the biggest concerns you've had, right? Because everybody's gonna be a little bit different, but normally it's gonna be things like price and time frame, right? And now you can literally write down on a pad of paper, this is concern number 1, concern number 2, concern number 3, and your sales presentation is based on just answering those biggest concerns. Because everything else, who cares? Right? You don't really care about everything else. Those are the things that they told you they're concerned about. Then you already have your pre-listing package, so it answers all those other questions like how much your commission split's going to be, who your brokerage is, all these other things that you do. It's all included in the package, but you're not wasting their time. You're there to answer the questions that they have, in, out, boom, on with life. And then the last thing that we need to do is just complete a little bit of paperwork and we're done.
I love that. Yep. I absolutely love it. Yep.
Like if you have the experience scripted like that, where you know exactly what to do and you do it every single time, you're the young buck who knows what he's talking about. Right. You're not wasting their time. Like you can be telling them about your marketing strategy and what you do on social media, but if they didn't give a shit about that, that wasn't one of their 3 concerns. Like now you're just gloating. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. I love that. I cannot express it enough. I'm a firm believer in, you don't need to stretch things out. You don't need to make things more difficult than they need to be. Let's go in and let's get it done. So, that pre-work of getting the packet to them prior, getting the 3 objections and planning of what we're going to talk about, or the three big scary things or whatever it is that they're nervous about as far as listing their home goes, and getting that down and then moving forward and bringing something of value to the listing right away and addressing that stuff. I think there's no more to be said about it. I absolutely love it.
Dude, I'm going to recommend, I did a whole training on the 7-step listing process, right? In one of the previous episodes, I forget what episode it was. Maybe you can look it up, him.
Way early on.
It was way early on in episodes like 100, like one of the first 100 episodes.
I want to say it was even earlier than that, but yeah.
So there's a 7-step listing process and I lay it all out. And then, so how to go through this thing so that it's consistent the same way every single time. And then if you would like, I'll even send you the layout for the pre-listing package that we use so that you can follow that same process. Dude, it's like gold, man. Like at that point, you follow this script every single time. Every top producer that you talk about uses a script like that. And it's not, and I hate to use script in the sense that like, it's not something they're reading word for word. It's something that you internalize and then you make it your own. You know what I mean? You 100%. Understand the concept of what you're trying to get across and then you be you.
And the beautiful thing about that is everyone makes sense of things differently. Everyone prioritizes what they think is important differently. So yeah, it's going to be there's going to be a spin on it any way you look at it.
Absolutely, dude. I'm like excited, dude. You got good energy. I mean, your hustle, like I said, you're doing things. Are you a Gary Vee fan?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because it's one of those things when you said you DM'd a bunch of people, I was like, yeah, that's probably like a Gary thing. You probably heard that. It's like, hit them all up, hit them all up,
of course.
And over and over again.
It just makes absolute sense, though. I mean, when you think, I did hear, Gary talk about DMing a bunch of people. But yeah, it just makes total sense. I mean, why not? You have an opportunity. You have a platform where all these people that you look up to, all these people that you're consuming their stuff, and you're internalizing it. You want to go put it out into your everyday thing. You have an opportunity to talk to them. You have an opportunity to be in front of them, to make you familiar to them. And I just think that opportunity should not go by the wayside. I think everyone should be doing it. So,
do you do open houses out there?
Yes.
Yeah, even in the snow and stuff.
Absolutely. That's when no one else wants to do it.
Man, the snow don't stop these people. The Midwesterners. How many times I got to tell you?
My bad.
It's unbelievable. Actually, so I was kind of telling you how 20 was warm for us.
Mhm.
So, this weekend on Sunday, Super Bowl, but it's anticipated to be an extremely busy open house Sunday because it's going to hit the 40s. So everyone's supposed to be out. Like, and I what I said to you before the show, which was people are encouraged to get out when it hits 30. When it hits 30, people are busting out T-shirts. People are driving with the window down. They're taking their dogs for a walk. They're doing anything they can outside. So this weekend will be huge for open houses because it's hitting 40.
So make sure you make them all become your Facebook friends. Like everybody who goes, like hey, do you like this house or blah blah blah? Like get them, instead of giving them a business card, have them become a Facebook friend. So what I do with all my new Facebook friends is I send them a video message. So instead of DMing them, instead of sending them text or whatever, send them a video and say like, hey, it was great to meet you. You know, I hope you like this house, blah, blah, blah. You know, if you have any questions, here we go. Right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That connection, I promise you, is going to take you a long way. Like you're already aggressive on the social. Their social is Facebook. The buyers that are out there right now, their social is Facebook and Instagram. Right. So add them that way, and then they'll become part of your audience. So everything that you're putting out on Instagram, they are now going to see, and you know they're in the market because they went to an open house.
Mm-hmm. Right. 100%. Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
Sweet, dude.
By the way, that was episode 41.
Oh, man, 41.
Yeah.
Way back in the days.
Way back in the day. I'm just going to drop that into the
boom. Episode 40.
Impressive. You tracked it down. That's honestly impressive.
Yeah, he did a quick search. It's Google, man. You just put it whatever and it'll bring it up.
Pretty much.
All right, Austin, man. Any last minute thoughts before we end up for today?
No, I just want to say I really appreciate you bringing me in here and talking to me, educating me, giving me your 2 cents as a tenured guy in the business, and just give me a shot. Let me come on here and talk, and I hope the best for the podcast. You guys do a great job, and thank you, really.
Hey man, follow up, dude. I want to know, like, check in with me when the summer comes, take a picture outside, send me some stuff on Instagram. I want to know how you're doing. I want to keep track, man.
Absolutely. I would love to. And next time I'm in San Diego, I love to travel. So I'll be out in San Diego. Next time I'm in San Diego, we can get together.
Hit me up, dude. We'll do a live in the studio.
Absolutely.
That'd be awesome.
Why not, right? Why not?
Yeah,
We'll
follow-up show.
That's
right.
Absolutely. Cool stuff.
All right, brother.
Awesome.
Hey, stay warm, my friend.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gents, 100 hoodies, sweaters, blankets is what we're looking for. We need to keep our homeless warm. So if you guys got any, hit James up 619-884-0045 or james@csfirst.com. All your insurance needs, remember, try it before you buy it. All you got to do is send us the referrals. We're going to earn that business for you, build an income stream for you, and all you got to do is get a license, and we can help you with that. That's at mikerust.org. Pick your property and casualty license. Use the promo code business.bros. Get 15% off that guy right there. And we can cut you a check. So lastly, Resolution 2020, February 13th. It's going to be here in Chula Vista. Make sure you guys go. We're dropping the link in the comments section. $30 tickets. Learn about neuro-linguistic programming. Learn from top producing agents. Learn from Kobe Gibson himself. And we'll see you guys on February 13th. Other than that, have a great weekend. Super Bowl Sunday. It's a red Super Bowl Sunday. I don't know who you guys are going with. I'm kind of a Patrick.
The red team.
The red team. I'm going for the Pat Mahomes. I want the young guy to take the dub on this one. But either way, it's going to be a fun time. And Super Bowl Sunday, an hour before the Super Bowl starts, we're going to be dropping our Gary Vee parody video.
Oh, what? That's the official
thing?
date?
Okay. That's how we do it. It's going to be the Business Bros commercial spot.
Okay. So I feel like we should do it at halftime then.
I don't know. Halftime people are going to be watching.
Yeah, you're right. 1 hour before the Super Bowl.
So 1 hour before the Super Bowl, we're going to be launching the Gary Vee parody video. So make sure you check it out.
It's going to be exciting.
It's going to be a fun
one.
Dude,
Yep. Can't wait. It's going to be a good one.
All right. That's all we got for you guys. Peace.
Bye-bye.
See you guys. Thank you.